Hello my cuties, Katt Chatt here, and welcome to the video. After I reviewed Bolt and Blip a couple years ago, someone approached me in my DMs asking me to look into a different show, also about robots, that they really enjoyed. Ladies and gents, Rollbots. That's the wrong one, hold on a minute. Just wait a sec. Is that the right one? Still not the right one, okay. There we go. Ladies and gents, Rollbots. Rollbots is a Canadian-based cartoon by Michael Milligan, or screen name MCM, and produced by Amberwood Entertainment. Originally released on YTV and Radio Canada. Rollbots was his first ever show, and since then he's been behind other shows, such as Robert the Robot, Shutterbugs, Just in Time Go, Ollie the Boy Who Became What He Ate, and True and the Rainbow Kingdom. He has also written or helped write many books and is currently a freelancer, along with working on personal projects. Onto the show, Rollbots revolves around Spin, a speed-loving cool guy looking to get into the Katt tribe, this world's equivalent of the police force. He's basically Sonic the Hedgehog but red, and a robot. Members of this tribe include Captain Pounder, who may or may not be evil. He's not. Lance, the quintessential Steve of the tribe.
Captain Pounder said to get you set up, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Storage sub-level B12. Follow me and try to keep up.
Penny, who was formerly a member of the Kazuri tribe, but now is part of the Katt tribe as a medical officer. And Tinny, our spunky kid character. No one knows who his parents is. They serve and protect Flip City, a robotopia high in the sky protected down below by a safety net generated by the city's power supply. But in its underbelly, so to speak, is the malevolent giant spider-bot Vertex, on a mission to take over Flip City, even having his own traitorous lackeys, Botch, Azarashu, Macro, a Haibu, and Manx, a rogue Kizatsu. If you're wondering why I'm mentioning their tribe so much, it's because they do. And don't even begin to ask why a civilization of robots has tribes. There's 12 known tribes and a lost one, which existed to protect the other tribes. Spin is introduced to us as having no tribe, he's the chosen one. Nope, not even joking. First time I watched the first episode, I knew it was going to be a chosen one story. Just like another robot show I reviewed previously. When was this show released? 2009. It predates Bolts and Blip. The show was promised at least 3 seasons from what I found online, and about 5 seasons worth of story and plans were penned out, but sadly, due to budget issues after the release of the first season, the show was cancelled, leaving us on a cliffhanger. Delightful. I had a tough time deciding if I should do an individual episode, like I did with Bolt and Blip, or give the entire series a run-through. While watching the episodes, there were many candidates I could have talked about. There's the Koto Protocol, where we learn why Penny was no longer welcome in the Kazuri tribe. Teacher's Pet, where Spin has to locate a lost robot dog that gained the ability to turn invisible, thanks to a stolen bot mod. Pirate Bay, where Tinny joins a group of sky pirates, classic Tinny, or the Do Right module, where Mayor Aria decides to test moral action control chips, which shock you for breaking the law, no matter how inconsequential, on the Katt tribe, and this is the main reason why she is my least favorite character.
How about testing it on criminals? Oh, that would be a violation of their rights.
Oh, look at that, the guy's a Democrat.
I think it would have been better for her character if she was secretly working for Vertex, not gonna lie. I really hate idiot mayor characters. In the end, I decided on an episode I really enjoyed and consider my favorite episode. That being episode 8, Cron Tab Trouble. While this episode isn't the best written in my opinion, I felt this was the best episode to review for a few reasons. 1, it has an interesting premise. 2, while it does 1 or 2 tropes I don't like, it does it in a way that makes sense and is less annoying because of the overarching plot. And 3, It's early enough in the series that I don't have to explain too much, and not so early that the character seems surface level. Let's get into it. It begins in headquarters, where Spin sets off quickly to locate a missing bot, a Tensai, much to Captain Pounder's chagrin and puzzlement as he had no idea about the missing Tensai, oddly enough. Spin is on the road when he runs into Tinny, who then gets hit by a pulse flare and almost falls off the side of the track, but is saved by Spin. Spin makes sure he's okay before going after the source of the flare. Spin quickly catches up with the culprit and the missing Tensai. She sets off a bot mod called the Cron tab, and everyone is suddenly sent back to earlier in the day, as indicated by the captain saying his quip but getting interrupted by Spin, who knew what he was going to say already. It's evident that Spin remembers what happened before the reset, and as indicated by the dialogue before, this is not the first time things have been reset. Just after, we see Vertex in his hideout, communicating with someone currently unknown to us. We then cut back to base, where Penny and Co are concerned for Spin. He asks for a badge and siren, but is denied, as he is not a fully fledged Kizatsu yet. Then another Tensai rolls in and talks to the captain about the missing Tensai in the captain's office, crashing into Lance on the way in. Meanwhile, Spin is in the middle of convincing Penny that they've been through this day before, even repeating a line from Pounder at the same time he says it to prove what he means. The captain is puzzled as to how Spin knows what's going on, but seemingly doesn't believe him as soon as he mentions Vertex. He sends the troops out and blows off Spin, saying they need more than hunches to go off of.
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
You're late.
I can fix that. With this.
Does it function?
Want me to demonstrate?
Spin is on the road again, when he runs into Tinny again, who mentions something about a Zorginja wanting to speak with him. Spin blows him off and rolls off to find Reboot, Tinny chasing after him. He's blocked by roadworks, and when he can't prove he's a Kizatsu, just barely manages to get by, and gets hit with another pulse flare not 5 seconds later. He finds Manx and chases after her, traps her, but then is ambushed by her cohorts and Reboot, who resets the day again. Spin requests a badge and siren again, but is again denied, then stops Lance from getting knocked over by knocking him over himself. When the captain leaves to his office with the Tensai chief, Spin steals his badge and siren, and makes another attempt to stop Vertex. Spin is on the road again, and runs into Tinny again, and this time agrees to see the Zorginja. Said Zorginja, named Dassault, tells Spin he can't let the Cron trap reach the hub, and that Spin City, which he doesn't remember, has the same name, which is apparently a blight on the front of creation.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, this is the part of the episode that explains why I believe this isn't the best written. It tries to be mysterious and vague, but it just ends up being off. Not that I've ever been a fan of these types of scenes anyway. He tells Spin about how Reboot is rogue, and that if the Cron tap reaches the hub, bad stuff's gonna happen. Spin begins to leave, when Dassault mentions what Spin did and makes him question why he's basically the only one who remembers the resets, aside from himself. The last thing he says before Spin and Co leave is that there's only one bot who's truly alone, and he looks the part, Spin figuring out that he's talking about Vertex, but then Dassault disappears. Woo! Spin's on the road again, when he's contacted by Penny expressing how much trouble he's in for stealing the badge and siren. He tells her to send everyone to the hub, but Pounder interrupts, telling him to return to base or he'll be arrested. Spin explains to him what's going on, him questioning how he knows about the bod mod. He doesn't believe Spin at first, but Penny convinces him, and he sends all units, including himself, to the hub, stipulating that if Spin is wrong, he's off the force. Spin makes it to the hub first, and gets the Cron tab off the bad guys. And then Vertex shows up through a giant vent, and knocks Spin over. Just as Tinny and Captain Pounder arrive, troops in tow. We have a fight scene, which are basically handled pretty well in the show. They are typically animated well and often make use of the environment around them, and each character's abilities, as any good fight scene should. Pounder finally sees Vertex is, in fact, a giant spider, and they dick it out while Spin and Tinny try and get the Cron tab away from Vertex, and Vertex almost kills Pounder by trying to crush him with a large pipe. But just as Tinny catches it, he gets cornered by Vertex's lackeys. Vertex gets his claws on it and inserts it into the hub, which begins to rumble and fall apart, along with the rest of the city. He's upset at Reboot because it didn't go like she said it should, then gets swallowed up by the floor as the hub continues to crumble. Macro gets trapped by some rubble and is abandoned by his cohorts, only to have Spin save him instead as Pounder frees Tinny, then orders everyone to evacuate. Spin and Pounder stay back as they need to remove the Cron tab, which they are separated from by the pit that swallowed Vertex. Pounder deadlifts the pipe from earlier and throws it in, creating a bridge for Spin to get to the Cron tab. Spin resets the day and, after showing he knows what's going to happen, is led into the office with Pounder and the Tensai Chief to discuss Reboot. The Chief explains that they built a mod for another tribe to pause time in order to get more done in less time, which is naturally dangerous. One verbal thrashing from Pounder to the Tensai Chief later, Spin and Pounder head to the hub. On their road they get hit by a pulse flare, leaving Pounder indisposed for a time, and order Spin to go without him. At the hub, Spin arrives and warns them that they're about to destroy the city, but they attack him. He fights back and gets the Cron tab away from them just as Vertex shows up. He attacks Spin, but when trying to finish him off, Spin blocks his attack with a Cron tab, breaking it and ruining their plans. Sirens blare as Vertex gets away, along with his lackeys, leaving Reboot behind to get captured. And Dassel shows up out of nowhere and isn't acknowledged. Captain Pounder rewards Spin his own badge and siren, and Lance gets jealous that Pounder saluted Spin and not him. And that's the episode. Again, while not the best written, this episode was great. The plot was interesting, taking an existing formula and giving an interesting take on it. I was invested in what was going on, and some parts had me at the edge of my seat my first time watching it. Overall, a good episode of yet another good show. But before we go, while researching the creator, I found some interesting news. MCM has a pilot written up for a reboot. Not that reboot, known as Rollbots Refactored. Reading the pilot, available on his website, instead of continuing from where we left off, it reimagines the world and characters into a new version of the story, which, having read the pilot, is in my opinion a better introduction than the first episode of the original. There's no guarantees on whether or not it will come to fruition, but if it does, well, let's hope it doesn't take the path of other recent reboots of old favourites. This is Katt, and I'll see you next time. Bye!